Curious Kidcast, here we go. Ooh, yeah. Questions poppin', minds will blow. Big ideas, they're taking flight. Let's explore, feel the light. Why, what, where, and how? Big answers, we'll find them now. Curious minds, the world will comb. Ask away, let's bring it home.
Hey there, curious kids! It's your buddy Andy here, welcoming you to another mind-blowing episode of the Curious Kidcast, where we answer the questions that make your brain go, what? Have you ever been lying in the grass on a sunny day and suddenly thought, I wonder if there are more blades of grass or grains of sand on Earth? No? Just me? Well, you're thinking about it now, aren't you? And it's kind of breaking your brain a little bit, right? Today, we're diving deep into this super cool mystery, but to keep things a little simpler, we're just focusing on land. That's right, land blades of grass versus land grains of sand. The ultimate showdown. It's like the world championship of who's got more stuff. Let's start with grass. You see it everywhere, don't you? In parks, backyards, and soccer fields. Sometimes when I'm on a road trip, it feels like grass is taking over the planet. It's like grass is saying, look at me, I'm everywhere, in a really squeaky plant voice. And guess what? There are so many different types of grass, too. The grass in your backyard is probably completely different from the grass at your school. It's like grass has its own fashion styles. Some grass is short and spiky, some is long and floppy, some grass even has fancy stripes. Here's something that'll make your jaw drop. Grass covers about 40% of all the land on Earth. That's almost half of all the land. If Earth were a pizza, grass would eat almost half of it. And grass is hungry. Want to hear something even more bonkers? If you took a square patch of land about the size of a hopscotch grid, you'd find between 3,000 and 6,000 blades of grass in there. That's a lot of tiny green roommates sharing one small apartment. So, if we're talking about counting every single blade of grass on all that land, how many do you think there are? 1 million? 1 billion? Think way bigger. The estimated number of blades of grass on land is, get ready for it, 234 quadrillion. What's a quadrillion, you ask? It's a 1 with 15 zeros after it. If you tried to count that high, your grandkids would have grandkids before you finished. So grass is definitely a strong contender in this contest. But what about sand? It might not be spread out as much as grass, but there's a ton of it in deserts and on beaches. Sand might not cover as much of Earth's surface as grass, but it makes up for it in depth. Those deserts and beaches aren't just a thin layer of sand, they're massive piles of it, sometimes going down hundreds of feet. Imagine you're trying to build a giant sandbox to hold all the sand on Earth. That sandbox wouldn't just be big, it would be bigger than Mount Everest! That's one epic sandcastle you could build with that. And get this, 1 cubic meter of sand, about the size of your refrigerator, holds about 1 billion grains of sand. That's like having 1 billion tiny rocks in your fridge instead of food, which would make your parents very confused at dinner time. So how many grains of sand does that make on all the land? Are you sitting down for this? The estimated number of grains of sand on land is a mind-blowing 49 sextillion. A sextillion is a 1 with 21 zeros after it. That means if you started counting grains of sand right now, like 1 grain every second, it would take you millions and millions of years to finish counting them all. By then, robots would probably be running the planet and they'd be like, why is this human still counting sand? My brain is officially overloaded. So who wins? More blades of grass or grains of sand on land? Well, 49 sextillion is way bigger than 234 quadrillion. That means there are about 209,000 grains of sand for every single blade of grass. Sand wins by a landslide. Or, should I say, a sandslide. But you know what's even cooler than those huge numbers? All the amazing things about grass and sand that we don't even realize. Did you know there are over 10,000 different types of grass all over the world? That's way more types of grass than I can even imagine. It's not just the stuff we see in our backyards. Think about those really tall, swaying grasses in the African savanna where the giraffes and zebras roam. Those are totally different from those short, prickly grasses you might find in a desert. Every type of grass is adapted to survive in its own unique environment. It makes sense, right? If one type of grass can survive in the desert, that doesn't necessarily mean it could also grow in a rainforest. Our plants can be pretty picky about where they live, kind of like how I refuse to sleep anywhere but my own bed with my stuffed dinosaur Chompy. Desert grasses have special tricks to survive with very little water, while rainforest grasses need to handle lots of rain and shade. It's like they each have their own superpowers. Some grass is like, I don't need water, I'm super grass, while other grass is like, I can grow in the dark like a plant ninja. Speaking of superpowers, what is sand even made of anyway? Is it just tiny little rocks? Well, some sand is made of tiny rocks, like quartz crystals, but it can also be made from other things, like crushed up coral or even volcanic rock. That's why you see different colors of sand in different places. Those black sand beaches are formed from volcanic rock that's been broken down over time by waves crashing on the shore. It's like the earth is creating its own artwork. So every time you see sand, you should think about how far it traveled and what it's made of. That's way more interesting than just thinking about building sandcastles. Though sandcastles are still pretty awesome, not gonna lie. And speaking of incredible journeys, did you know that some types of grasses can live for hundreds of years? That's longer than some trees live. Some grasses are like the grandparents of the plant world. They grow really, really slowly in tough environments where there isn't a lot of water or nutrients. It's like they're taking their time, savoring every little bit of sunshine and rain. They're not in a hurry like us humans who can't even wait for videos to buffer for 5 seconds. It seems like we really underestimate both grass and sand. They're a lot tougher than they look. And they're both vital parts of our planet's ecosystem. An ecosystem is like this big community of living things, including plants, animals, and even tiny little microbes, all interacting with each other in their environment. Both grass and sand play important roles in keeping those ecosystems healthy. So all that grass and sand is doing more than just sitting around looking pretty. Grasses are like the foundation of many food chains. They provide food and shelter for a huge variety of animals, from tiny insects to giant herbivores like elephants and bison. Without grass, those animals wouldn't have anything to eat, and the whole ecosystem would be thrown out of whack. So basically, grass is like one giant buffet for all sorts of creatures. An all-you-can-eat salad bar for animals! And sand is important too. It helps prevent erosion. Imagine the waves crashing on a beach. The sand acts as a barrier, protecting the land from being washed away. If we didn't have sand, our coastlines would constantly be shrinking, and we'd have less room for beach parties. Not only that, but sand provides a home for all sorts of critters like crabs, clams, and turtles. They burrow into the sand for shelter and lay their eggs there. So sand is like a giant apartment complex for all sorts of beach creatures, a bustling city under the surface. Sand even helps clean the air we breathe. There are these tiny little organisms that live in the sand, and they actually help filter out pollutants from the water and release oxygen back into the atmosphere. Sand is like a superhero in disguise. It just goes to show that even the things we think are simple can be so incredibly important to our planet. It makes you wonder what other secret powers grass and sand might have. We actually do have one more surprise to share with you, but before we reveal it, let's take a moment and imagine something incredible. Imagine if you could the size of an ant. What would it be like to explore a world made of billions and trillions of blades of grass and grains of sand? The blades of grass would be like giant trees, and the grains of sand would be like boulders. It would be this whole new world to discover. And that's what makes learning about the natural world so exciting. There's always something new and amazing to uncover, no matter how big or small it might seem. Okay, so what's this big surprise I mentioned? Imagine a future where you could fill up your car with something called grassoline. Is that like gasoline but made from grass? You got it. That's exactly what it is. Scientists are actually working on ways to turn grass into a biofuel that could power our cars and even our homes. So maybe someday I could be driving a car powered by my lawn. It might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's a real possibility. Grassoline could be a renewable and sustainable source of energy, meaning it's way better for the environment. I'm glad we're finding new ways to use plants to help our planet. Maybe in the future, your parents will say, "Go mow the lawn, we need to fill up the car." What about sand? Does it have any more tricks up its sleeve? It does. Scientists are using sand to create artificial coral reefs. Wait, what? How do you make a coral reef out of sand? Well, they use a special kind of sand that's made of the same material as real coral reefs. Then they shape this sand into structures that look like coral and place them in the ocean. Then tiny little coral animals can attach to these structures and start building a whole new reef. It's like giving the coral a little house to get them started, and these artificial reefs can help restore damaged coral ecosystems and provide new homes for all sorts of fish and other sea creatures. It's like building underwater apartment buildings for fish. That's so important because a lot of the coral reefs are in danger because of pollution and the ocean's getting warmer. It's a really serious problem, but scientists and engineers are working hard to find solutions and protect and restore those vital ecosystems. We've learned so much about grass and sand today. Who knew they were so important, had so many secrets? And we've really only just scratched the surface. There's still so much more to learn about these amazing parts of our world. I hope everyone realizes that even the smallest and most common things in nature can be incredibly important and really fascinating when you stop and think about them. So next time you see a blade of grass or a handful of sand, take a moment to appreciate its beauty and remember all the amazing things it does for our planet. That's my advice to you, curious kids. And who knows, maybe one of you listening right now will become a scientist and make even more amazing discoveries about the world around us. That would be awesome! So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never lose your curiosity for the world. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world of grass and sand. Don't forget to share and subscribe to the Curious Kidcast. And if you have any super curious questions you'd like me to answer on a future episode, drop them in the comments below. Maybe your question will be the next big mystery we solve together. Until next time, this is Andy signing off. Stay curious, kids!